Hello, I'm going to be going over my setup. So I use Arch Linux and I'm thinking about switching to Nix OS next time I do a refresh. And this is the setup that is ideal for me. It might not be for you. I'm a sovereign human being. Find what you like from this video, take what you like, steal it, etc. Just do whatever you want. So I use ZSH as my shell, and you could probably use bash. It's basically the same. I just use ZSH because it's popular and people say to use it. So let's actually look at my Z profile. This is the thing that runs when I log in, and basically it just starts the X server. That's what it checks the display if anything's running. If not, then start the X server. Once the X server starts, it'll read from the X init file, which is right here. This reads from the X profile, setting some things, and then also X resources, which I'll explain later. And then it executes whatever window manager I'm using. So either DWM or my window manager. Then let's look in the Z or X profile. So X profile, it basically just sets a background color if I have that, or a wallpaper if I have that. Then in the X resources, I set a theme. So certain programs can read from your X resources and then use the colors from this to color whatever theme that you want in that program. So you just set the colors here and then it shows up in whatever you're using. And then also the other thing is I use ZSHenv. This is where I put all of my environmental variables that I want set. And then also ZSHRC, I customize the prompt a little. So you can see I have the name of the person that I'm currently logged in as, then the name of the computer, then the current directory I'm in, and then a little caret. And I do some color customizations here too. I also escape some of the keys, like I wanted to use Control P and the home button, that sort of thing. So I do that here by binding the keys. Finally, I set some custom aliases. So I use Exa instead of LS, and then I use Neovim instead of Vim. So let's actually look at my Neovim setup by looking at the config file. So it's in home config, nvim, and then init. You can see what plugins I'm using. I'm using Plugged as my plugin manager. Then I use Cock as to connect to the language server that I'm using. Like if I'm typing in TypeScript, it'll connect to the TypeScript language server, providing me with auto completion and all that sort of stuff. I use OneDark as my theme. Kind of just liked it. It's a cool color system. I use FZF as my fuzzy finder. So like if I'm in a project and I want to find a file, I do -F and then this prompt shows up and then I can find a file in there. I use NerdTree to like go around in my project like this. I also bind some keys to like open it and all that sort of stuff. I'll go to that later. And I use NerdTree Git plugin to show like if I have, git commit stage and that sort of thing. You can see that X, that means it's untracked, I think. It has little icons showing what the git status is. I use PHP actor. If I'm doing PHP stuff, I want to have imports tied to key bindings. So that's what PHP actor provides. There's some extra hints to PHP scripts. I use this however you pronounce this, provide colors. Like if I'm looking at a color right here, you can see it'll interpret all these hex codes and it'll show you the color in your terminal. I use the Vim airline to provide me just whatever, wherever I'm at in the file. So you can see I'm on line 12. It's UTF-8. I'm 11% done. It shows however many lines are in the file. And then Vim polyglot. This is if I don't have a language server set up for whatever I'm using. This just provides me with styling for syntax highlighting for whatever language that I'm using, and I haven't set up a language server for it that connects to Cock. This is my Cock extensions. These are just the main things that I use. Set some NerdTree stuff, like however wide you want, you would set it with this. Here I just set some of the PHP bindings that I want on my keyboard. Here I customize the airline, so I think I removed some stuff from down on the right hand corner. I override some of the colors from OneDark to make it a little bit my own style. I set the term GUI colors. I think that it does something with the colors because I was having issues with, I think it was like the X resources was conflicting with the color scheme I was using, something like that. You can look it up. Forgot what this does. Probably something here that sets the text width. So this little line shows 100 characters. That way I know I need to break line. And here this just shows see how I want a block to show up whenever there's a hex color. So that's the icon that I chose. And this just handles tabs, and I won't get into that debate. Finally, I just set the line count. So I want to see, like, I'm on the 0 line. Let's say I want to jump up 5. See, now I can see 5 lines above me, and I want to jump to the smart index. So I just do 5K to jump. So that's why I use relative line numbers. And then this just jumps to the last place I was in the file. And then mappings. So if I have a custom mapping, I can do like whatever comma F to open my fuzzy finder or that sort of thing. Then this allows me to switch between panes. So here you can see this nerd tree is a pane. So if I want to switch to it, I do GH. If I want to switch back, I do GL, and then so on. So that's what these switching key bindings do. This opens the fuzzy finder. This opens nerd tree. This saves without quitting. So when I'm writing to a file and I don't want to quit it, I can just do WW and then that saves the file. And then this just removes any white space that's trailing. I don't want that. This clears the search. So if I'm searching through a file, this thing right here, then let's say I search through, I want to search web URL. When I'm done searching for it, I just want to press enter and the search be removed. That way it's not still highlighted. So that's what that binding does. Finally, this allows me to select, like let's say I have something like next auth URL, so then I can use my arrow keys and I can also press enter to actually select that. So I just find that a little bit easier for handling auto completion with Coq. And I think I have a pretty basic setup. I use my web browser as a PDF viewer, also as an image viewer. I don't really look at the many images or videos on my own computer, so that's what I use for that. And then I use Blender to actually edit videos. I'm doing that also. I think that's about it. My setup is very, very, very basic. Hope you learned something from this. If you have any questions, let me know. Thank you for watching.